Hello, everyone.
I feel like we should stand up and bow or something. As you can tell, I have a big personality. For those of you that were here earlier, you saw me totally not see that there were steps. So yeah, I jumped. Here we are. I'm Dahlia. Dahlia Callgreen. I'm the VP of Stuff and Things. That's my actual title at Unified Residential. We manage our properties. We own and manage about 5,000 units across the United States. I'm on the board of trustees for the Columbus Apartment Association. I'm also the vice president of the education for that. And I'm your National Apartment Association delegate for Region 3. So I don't know if anybody is in Region 3, but yay us. Midwest, I'm alone. That's okay. I'm used to it. And this is Z.
Zlatko Bogevsky, Z. I'm the CEO of BetterBot. I've been involved in multifamily AI for the last 8 years. And big tech enthusiast, and there's nothing else I'd rather talk about. So here we are.
Yeah, we've shared space quite a bit just in terms of nerding out and talking about technology. So one of the things a lot of us that have been in this industry, which if you're here, I'm hoping you are in this industry, have been doing for the last arguably 5 years, or how long has it been since the pandemic? So we've built a lot of technology around a bunch of fragmented tools. So now our tech stacks look like Frankenstein. How do you think we got here?
Well, that was largely due to the complexity to build software. So as someone that's been a CTO in tech startups and later a CEO, I know that the playbook was always you pick something narrow and you build to solve a narrow problem because software development was expensive, complex, and it took a long time. So therefore, what you would see is companies naturally would become specialists in very narrow areas. And that's how we ended up with a lot of different products solving very specific problems. So a lot of different point solutions were developed in multifamily, especially over the last 10 years. And that's why you see tech stacks that are very complex with a lot of different products operating in the same space.
Yeah. How are your guys' tech stacks working? Kind of okay? I don't know. Yeah, right. Okay. For the honest folks, no, it's not going great because some of those tools don't talk to one another. And now we're sitting in an age where it's just growing astronomically, which I'm thrilled about because that's what I do for fun. I have no life. But from a financial perspective, how do you think these tech stacks compare? You're losing money. We're all losing money.
Well, I mean, one thing that I've noticed, I've looked at like P&L statements for property management companies, and you quickly notice that like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, it was not uncommon for a company to be spending anywhere between $2 to $5 per unit on software. Now, all of a sudden, you're starting to see that companies are spending $10 to $15 a unit, and these are fixed per unit costs. So during the good times, nobody really paid attention to this. But these days, I'm starting to notice more and more people realizing that as it's becoming more difficult to maintain high occupancy rates, all of a sudden you have to look at your fixed costs. But it crept up over time, so a lot of people didn't notice that you keep adding a solution for $1 per unit and $1 per unit, $1 per unit, and next thing you know, you are somewhere in the $12 to $15 per unit.
Very true. So I did an analysis middle of last year. I took every program we use, everything from our investment arm to our property operations arm to our maintenance arm to our construction arm, because again, we're vertically integrated and I'm stuff. So I sat there and I took every single tool to make it easier for the C-suite and the ownership team to understand, because they don't always understand why we have certain tools. Valid and fair. I put a column in there that explained what each tool did. And then I have a column in there breaking down the price. Then I annualized the price. And then I figured out where the redundancies were and what programs worked or didn't work or what was being received well by, really residents and prospects, because that's ultimately what keeps us all in business. I highly recommend doing that. If you are the right person that can do that, it takes time and it is a gut check to look at that spreadsheet and then see those. I never shared it with Z. I probably should to show you just how much money we were spending. Anyway, that gave me the tools I needed to understand how I needed to reframe our entire tech stack, which took me the entire half of the year to build on top of everything else that I do. And what you're also going to notice is how many of those tools that you deployed. My favorite is you've partnered with people and they get so excited about things. They're like, hey, guess what else we rolled out? And it's something else that now is redundant because it's something else that you already have. And now what do you use? Which part is talking? How's that integration even working? I mean, it's a real gut check. It's kind of scary if you haven't done it just yet. So you're going to say something.
Yeah, and it goes beyond cost too. The technical complexity of managing this is very difficult as well, because now what you see, PMC is asking all of these point solutions to integrate, because everybody's realizing now I have all of these different views of my organization stuck in tiny little databases all over the place. And some of it might flow to your social record, like your property management system, but a lot of it does not. So then what you end up with technical issues with integrations, because different tech stacks that underpin these solutions are not easy to integrate. But then you also have political infighting between different vendors because a lot of them have overlap. So some of them say, well, I also do that, so I don't want to give access to someone to integrate that particular feature with my product. And some of these have been highly publicized. Then the problem,
we all know who he's talking about.
So it's not uncommon that this happens, because you see this overlap becoming more of a problem, and now it's spawning a cottage industry of consultants that review tech stacks and help people find the perfect mix, because it's gotten get that crazy over the last 5 years or so.
Oh, it's very, very true. I totally was consulting for fun because, I said I don't have a life. How many of you, just out of pure curiosity, have done that exercise I just talked about? Were there any surprising facts? Yeah. Redundancies. My favorite are, how many chatbots, which I hate calling them that, do you have running right now? And do your residents know who the hell they're talking to anymore? Like, it's a real problem that we have out there right now. So we're going to stop talking about the problem, because I think you guys understand the problem. I think you feel it just as hard as we do. And we come from different ends. I've never worked on the prop tech side. I've always worked for owner operator. So I don't live in his world. But I'm thankful he lives in his world.
She visits though.
I visit for fun, and I give them insight sometimes on how to build things, because I think that's very, very important. So now we're entering a moment where AI is being embedded in almost literally every single operational thing that you have. We're seeing AI features appear across almost every software and platform, but from an operator's perspective, so put on the operator's hat. What should they actually be looking for when evaluating AI?
That's actually a really good question, because right now, if you look at every product, is technically an AI product. But underneath it all, it's still the old SaaS products. But what they do shallow integrations to AI platforms like Anthropic or OpenAI, Google, so on. So what you end up with, it's still the same problem you had before. Yeah, you have AI, but now you have 10 different shallow AIs being trained differently, governed differently all throughout the organization, and they do not interoperate. So you still end up with the same fragmentation you had before, but now in an AI flavor.
Very true. I mean, I'm an enthusiast. And one of my favorite things that I just built with Anthropic, I'm also judgmental, and I'm a very big Anthropic fan, because of cowork. How many of you have done cowork? Is your mind blown or what? Are we all vibe coding at this point? Because wow, I mean, I built a dashboard where it doesn't matter what the back end tool is. So all those that are fragmented, fine, whatever. Don't need you. I grab whatever I need and drop it in there. So it is. The tools are now at our fingertips if you know what you're doing. It sounds like half of you do, which is really exciting. I don't. I don't always get in rooms like this.
Yeah. Well, the big differentiation in AI is really what does what does it really mean? What's real AI these days? Well, to me, the big differentiation is: are you building agents? Are you building SaaS? And you see how the stock market has responded over the last month every time Claude comes up with a new version, because as they're adding skills, they're essentially training agents to do automation. So what happens, what you're looking for is whether the AI you're using is actually agentic AI that builds different agents. They can work together to solve a bigger workflow problem, or are you dealing with separate shallow integrations with AI? And sometimes it's very difficult for the non-technical person to discern this, but you can do simple checks, like ask the vendor, be like, let me see your agents, let me see the prompts, let me see how they perform.
But see, a lot of the time when you're talking to the vendor, you're talking to the salesperson, and they don't always know what that is. And then they have to wait, and you have to take another call to wait for somebody else to join that actually knows what they're talking about.
Well, do what Dahlia does. Find the CEO and
yeah, right. Just go straight to the person that built it. No, for real. It's kind of another problem that we're dealing with. So now I don't know about you guys. I forewarn people in advance. Like, I'm going to ask you some real questions. So you might want to show up to that initial call with your software developer, because I'm going to have questions that come that aren't normal. So for us in the room that don't build this stuff regularly, because I'm only an enthusiast, I am not you. Can you explain the difference between how what the infrastructure is for these agentic workflows versus AI agents?
Yeah. So what we have right now, think of traditional CRMs. What they do, they essentially organize work for people to do. They create to-do lists, give them shortcuts to different datas, guest cards, resident cards, so on and so forth. Now, think of modern agentic platforms as CRMs that organize work for AI agents and people working together. So therefore, you have all of the different agents defined within the framework, so you can see the rules, how they're trained in English, so you can predict of how they're likely to behave. And then at that point, you can see how you can build workflows that utilize both agentic and human workflows intertwined in one. So that way you can choose, depending on your organization, of what level of AI you want to implement and where do the humans fit together within the AI.
So how easy is it to build that type of a workflow on an already existing infrastructure that wasn't built in that way?
Impossible, because you have to change the entire data structure.
I purposefully asked that question so you guys could hear the answer.
There is it's very difficult to find a migration path for a SaaS platforms because of what SaaS architecture looks like. You're built on very rigid databases with backend code and front-end code. Agentic platforms, it's not just that we deliver agents for you guys to use. The platform itself is agentic as well. And the way it uses data is completely differently. So for example, agents prefer unstructured data than structured data in databases. So therefore, traditional SaaS software, it's always going to underperform when compared to an agentic framework. And that's why you see Claude performing so well, because you can throw spreadsheets, PDFs, raw text, photos, whatever you want, and it handles it just fine. SaaS, on the other hand, needs data organized in databases.
That's why he is the best French boyfriend. Love Claude. Yeah. So when you look at operators who are getting ahead and making this shift already happen, what do you see them doing that's different from the rest?
The first thing that I see is that they're not waiting. They're educating themselves, because I think the worst thing to do is to stay on the sidelines, because there is a curve, first a learning curve and then an adoption curve for this. So the sooner you start, the better. And I think that go ahead, start experimenting. Like, I think you should identify pilots and you should move forward with this just to see how it has an impact on your organization, because you may be surprised. Like, now that we are on a second generation of agentic development in multifamily, you may be surprised of how much of multifamily operations can actually be not just automated, but improved to where you can make your organization operate in a 24/7 fashion, which is something that you can never do just with people, and how you can retrain people to better connect with humans to where we've seen some of our clients
No, I just
really
love that you
make it
said that.
about
Say it out loud.
yeah, make it
How do you
about a
human?
people thing. And I mean, it impacts retention, which is a huge thing today. So kind of start thinking about, what do I want AI to handle and what do I want my people to handle? Like, that's an important question. And it's hard because you have to rethink your organization a lot of times. Some of the old rules of like, okay, one leasing agent per 100 units, and I've seen so many of these formulas, they may not apply anymore. So you may need to kind of look at what's available and rethink your organization. And I think it's a huge opportunity, especially in this day and age where a cost control is so important in multifamily.
Yeah, and rewrite some job descriptions. Like, what do you need on site? What do you need in corporate? If you haven't reevaluated, if your job descriptions, which listen, Linda, I'm in the same boat sometimes, but if your job descriptions haven't changed in like 10 years, 5 years, and all of this stuff keeps changing, who are you hiring and what are you hiring them for? Also, who do you have working in your company that might be a nerd at heart that could be useful in what you're trying to build and shift, that you're not leveraging right? It's just a matter of recognizing those people, and they might come from the most crazy places you just wouldn't imagine. I've met some of the most tech savvy maintenance guys, which sounds like an oxymoron, but it's real, like for real. And I've met some of the slowest adopting young people and some of the fastest adopting older people. Like, it's just, yeah, I know, I saw you. So it's just, you can't judge anymore a book by what its cover and what you see. You have to understand the skills. And I hope you're writing these job descriptions to match that. What do you want your organizations to be? How important is retention to you? Which, to me, I agree with Z. That should be priority right now for everybody.
But I think that that's a great point. Identify internal champions. You have them. You probably don't know, because I was like, you mentioned maintenance.
Yeah.
I was on a maintenance council panel, and we're talking about AI, and most of the people on the panel are managers or executives overseeing maintenance operations. And then when you ask them, like, how many of your techs are using Chat GPT to solve problems? And then a lot of them start admitting. And I was like, well, maybe you should ask them to evaluate these tools, because they're already using tools out there that are probably not 100% fit, but they see value in that. So how can we build something that's actually governed, safe, and you have full accounting or audit trail of what's really used for and how? But you usually have people inside your organization. You just may not know it yet.
Yeah, like, have you been on site and seen that everybody has a Chat GPT on their portal? Everybody's using it. And if you don't allow them to use it on their computer, I promise you they're using it on their phone. And are you restricting that? Do you know how they're using it? Just get involved a little bit more, but you need those champions to help you. I don't want to miss out on, again, this is just these are normal conversations Z and I have on a regular basis. So we're inviting you to be a part of that conversation. If you are going to advise people today on what they structurally could change right now to help prepare them for the next wave of AI, which, if you guys think there isn't another wave, you are so lost. And definitely, I'm just gonna say, you might not be in the right room if you don't know that that's coming. How can you structurally prepare yourself today? What is one thing you would tell them to change right now to be prepared for that?
What we just talked about: immediately identify internal champions that are going to lead you through this transformation. And I'm starting to see a lot of PMs actually build innovation departments or innovation councils, and involve people from different parts of the organization, involve maintenance, involve marketing, involve operations. And I just don't think you should wait, because there's a curve to this. And I think the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be, because the opportunity for you to build a better operation is there.
Could not agree more. 3 years ago, I said, start learning. 2 years ago, I was like, come on, guys, start learning. Last year, I was like, guys, it's getting a little late. This year, you're left. Like, if you didn't start learning already, I am so sorry. Find people that already learned.